Hi friends, continuing our discussion on threads. To have a better picture of what a thread is, let's take an example of a music player. So when we are playing songs on our mobile or a system, then we press the music player icon and the process of music player begins to run. How do we know that the music player has begun its process? Many ways. One, it is visible on the screen. The picture of the musical player opens on the screen. Then some song comes from the speaker, and then we have many other activities that we can take up. This act, which feels almost effortless, has much more hidden in its background. Various threads are working to ensure that this process of music player runs smoothly, effortlessly, without disturbing. So to make the process work easily, effortlessly, lot of threads are working hard behind the screen. So one thread is responsible for what is visible here, that is how the music system should look on the screen. So it is responsible for rendering the visual screen. This thread takes control of what is visible on the screen. Another thread may be attending user interface like play, pause, volume, etc. Then each of these operations are further performed by separate threads. So one thread is responsible for playing. So when you say play, what actually happens is the data which is in the digital form will be converted into analog form, and then it is given to the speaker. So while doing so, another thread which is responsible for the volume control ensures how much is the magnitude of the signal to be generated before getting into the speaker. Then another thread that is responsible for equalizer may vary various frequency component amplitudes and then ensure that appropriate type of music is audible to the ears of the listener the way the listener wants. So how much of high frequency, how much of mid frequency, how much of low frequency components are required. Accordingly, the changes are made. So for each of these, a separate thread may be working. For each of the bands, a separate thread may be working, and another thread may be combining all the outcomes. One more thread may be converting all the digital back to analog. One thread may be fetching the content if the contents are available in the backend like a file. So one thread may be fetching the data from the backend or the file, or if we are getting the stream data, then it should be getting from the cloud or internet. So then stream of data will be received by one thread and then converted into packets, and these packets are given to the player thread and so on. So all these works are being done in the background, so a lot of activities keep doing in the background. So just let's look at just one music player, how many activities are parallelly going on in the background. For us it just looks simple, one music player is working, but in reality we can see how many threads are working. One thread is audio playback, which the core thread, which streams and plays audio smoothly. Then there is another thread which is responsible for file IO. So from the in the background the thread reads the music files from the disk or the cloud and keeps the data ready before it is required. Then all the data what we are talking about, music data, is usually encoded, and before playing it should be decoded. So the compressed format should be decoded before actually playing it. So usually it may be MP3 or FLAC or AAC formats are used for compression, and before playing it should be the plain data, so it has to be decoded. So another thread will be working on decoding the data what we get. Then another data may be busy with the user, what user is trying to interact with. The user wants to play. When the user hits the play button, the audio playback thread should start playing it. When it's paused, it should stop wherever it was stopped, or it may be stop button, then it comes to end of it and all that. Another thread may be busy in rendering the visual effects in the real time, like the visualizer, equalizer. So they are working in real time, so they are rendering the visual effects or even the audio effects. The visualizer is rendering the visual effects, or equalizer is rendering the audio effects in the real time. Then someone is busy with the playlist management, handles which song or which track should be played next, which track was previous. So some logic is required for keeping the track of these tracks, who will be the first, who will be the next, and all that. Then when we are streaming the data, then the data is coming at some speed, and to make sure that the whole process runs smoothly, then before beginning to play the song, sufficient amount of data is first fetched and then dumped onto the buffer. And once sufficient data is available on the buffer, then only the song or the music starts playing. And as the music is playing in the background, the new data is getting from the stream and dumping onto the buffer. So make sure that the data full of buffer size is always available, so that the music player will not starve out of data. If at all the data is not available, then the music player will stop and keep waiting for the data to be streamed onto the buffer. And another thread is busy in synchronizing the library, that is scans the folders, update the playlist in the background. So we may be creating a playlist, some song is running and we are creating some playlist, or some playlist is currently active, but in the background we are creating some other playlist. All such things are happening in parallel. Each activity is taken care by one thread. This whole thing in fact is one process for the user. It's just a music player, but music player is performing so many activities, then we cannot have a different process for each activity. So what we can do is we can have a small component of each process and call it a thread. So there are multiple threads, and each thread knows what to do, when to do, how to do, and all that. So they are all the threads, when they work in sync, then the whole process will work in the proper way. So that's about what a thread is. So the process here in this example is the music player and the threads: one thread visible part, one thread audio part, one thread quality of the music, one thread getting the data from the backend, one thread talking about decoding, decompression, one thread talking about what user wants, which song to be sung, which song to be played, whether to play or pause or stop. All these activities are taken care in the backend, and the user is totally unaware of all this. The user is just allowed to just press one button, relax and enjoy the music. All this is just possible because a process is working under multi-thread model. So that's about what a thread is. As an example, we can understand better. If you find this session of any use, so please do like, subscribe, share with your friends, and don't forget to comment. Thank you.